allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You're with me, Ellen.
Nobody else is, though.
Kristen was trying to get Zoom to come back up, and now we're waiting for the microphones because she was on my computer trying to get that on. Here they are.
There we go. All right. A little bit of technical difficulties, but we are in session. We'll get going here with our activity reports. Mine's pretty brief. We just had a public safety meeting since the last council meeting, and then basically it was just getting updates from the different entities around in regards to how they are handling the COVID-19 issues. Reminder here that we will be going into closed session twice towards the end of the meeting here. Once to discuss an offer on real property. There's a long description there, but it's basically the Shopko building, and then going into closed session to for attorney-client communication regarding threatened litigation. And with that, that is my activity report. Council Member LeBeau.
I had a ad hoc library board meeting and a park and tree board meeting last week.
And we're going to hear about the library tonight.
We are.
We are.
I'm excited for that.
Yes. All right. We got the charts up and everything. All right.
We do.
We do. All right. And Councilmember Gilmore.
I was at the Board of Appeal, Special Counsel, the Liquor Board, and the Park and Tree.
All right. Thank you. And just a note that County Len is doing this remote via Zoom. Councilmember Hertzberg.
I think we all had emergency management on the 4th.
Okay. All right. Councilmember Rinke.
I had our emergency meeting on the 4th, and that was it for me.
All right. Thank you. Then we do have one department head report, and that is our Emergency Services Director, Mr. Fred.
So nothing really new to report today.
Maybe you want to take the, grab the mic there from your partner in crime.
Last week I met with Melinda. They were tasked from the state of Minnesota to have a plan for reopening they had to have that submitted, I think, by May 15th. So spent a couple hours with Melinda and Belinda, coming up with how we could be ready to open up open up the DMV. Otherwise, that's all we've been really doing with the COVID right now. So, and I don't know, I haven't heard if that's been approved by the state yet or not.
It's here tonight for approval before we send it to the state.
Oh, okay.
Okay, any questions for Tom?
So that was just the plan to be submitted by the 15th, not necessarily any word on when they're thinking those might be opened?
Right now, the order is until May 18th. We'll find out by Thursday.
Okay. Is Thursday the day that the executive, or like the state of emergency ends? Is it
It's Monday.
14th?
I don't know when the emergency declaration that the state, I can't remember exactly when that is, but the executive order for the stay at home is until May 18th, so.
Okay.
And today is with the news conference the press conference that they had with the Minnesota Department of Health. Governor Walz wasn't in on it, so there's no indication of where he's going with his plans.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, thank you, Tom. Then we have the consent agenda, which are the to approve the consent agenda would include minutes from those 8 meetings on the first page, page 1, the vouchers totaling $754,481.23, listed on page 2, and then approval for Mr. Mergen to attend the MWOA convention in Grand Rapids at the end of July. And then just note, I think we'll move item B under old business, or item A under old business up to first for new business, so Tom can get back to whatever he's doing.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by LeBeau, seconded by Ranky to approve the consent agenda. Discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? That carried. All right, then, as we said, we'll talk about item A under old business on page 23. And as Tom did mention that, we'll go here in order, if I get to page 23.
Can you hear okay, Len?
I can hear part of it.
Okay, we're on page 23 in dealing with the COVID-19 issues. And the first one is the preparedness plan that Tom mentioned for opening City Hall, including motor vehicle, driver's license, DNR departments, once the stay-at-home order is lifted or the order is given that where the motor vehicle and City Hall can be open, correct?
Correct.
Yep. Had a chance to go through that. Any questions?
There's a reference on the top of page 25 to all HIPAA guidelines being followed. I'm just wondering, those didn't make it into the attachment. Do we know what that is?
I don't know what your page 25 looks like. I don't.
It's on the second page of the preparedness plan.
Yep. Yeah, it says attached, but not attached for our,
I guess I'm wondering what the screening sheet looks like, what that log might entail.
I think the last time we talked about that, we were trying to reach out to Centricare to see what they were kind of doing to go from
Yep,
there.
I did reach out to some. I did reach out.
That is your voice going through his phone. So maybe
oh, yeah.
Put it further away.
either that or maybe he could, yeah, try it further away.
Hang on, Len. Can you hear me now?
Hey, Belinda,
Yeah.
can you hear me through the TVs now?
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me? Everybody can hear me now? Or not?
Yes.
That fixed then.
Okay, Len, should I hang up my phone? Are you good?
Nope, you can turn your phone off now.
Okay. Okay, I reached out to Centricare and asked them what they were doing, and they said that they are not documenting at all. They do take temperature, they have a series of questions that they ask, but they don't document it. In our conversations, you know, we talked about if we have a big spreadsheet that every employee just lists their name and puts their temp and such on, that's probably going to violate privacy laws. So what Jennifer came up with is she did little business card size on a page, cut them apart, we'll have a box that has a slot in it, so as you come into work, take your temperature, you put your name on it, initial it, and it'll get dropped in that box and no one else will see it.
And then what
You guys also do a question and answer page with 3 or 4 main questions?
Yep, they're on it.
Okay. Okay, that's what we do, and we just got our temperature gauges in today, so we're gonna start shooting everybody as they come in. And that's what most companies are doing. We'll have one person that shoots people as they come in.
And we're gonna have, we've ordered thermometer for out at the liquor store, for at City Hall, police station, and I think we're gonna order one for Public Works. And it'll be just kind of like the first 2 people that come in, they'll do each other, and then as each person comes in, they'll just test it and throw
Do
it
you
in.
have any now?
We have 1 thermometer now, and I believe Jody has 3 on order.
Okay, yeah, because it took me like 4 weeks to get mine.
Yeah, we're fearful of that.
Is there a policy or discussion about screening members of the public as they come in? I didn't see that in here, but I don't know if it's been
That is
discussed.
not part of this. This is a template from the DMV, and,
Only for employees and staff? Okay.
yep.
I
But we
know,
will have a hand washing, like a antibacterial station set up. Our thought is to have them come in this door, so we can place them 6 feet apart and have a one-way traffic into the city. And then as they leave, they'll go out the potential, what is normally the front door of City Hall. The only exception to that rule would be somebody that is in a wheelchair that needs a handicap accessible, because there's a step out here. So that's not gonna work. They'll have to call us, and we'll have to make arrangements. But we have stickers we're gonna put on the carpet where they stand to direct them, and we'll have like a station as they walk in to use the antibacterial hand sanitizer.
and we were looking at putting those signs outside if you're displaying or experiencing any of these symptoms, do not enter.
Correct.
Like what most businesses are starting to do.
And if we have that many people that they're all the way out, they'll have to wait outside, I guess.
Has there been any talk of like a plexiglass barrier at the front counter out there, kind of like what they have at the liquor store?
There has been talk at this point. We have not done anything. The girls would prefer not to, just because we can't be consistent. The window where the driver's license camera and signature thing is, I don't think we can do it there with the camera. It would be very difficult. So if we don't have it there, but we have it here, it seems inconsistent. But that is certainly an option.
Okay.
So I'll move to approve the City Hall COVID-19 preparedness plan for the opening of City Hall, including motor vehicle driver's license and DNR departments, upon the stay-at-home order being lifted.
I'll second.
Motion by Rinky, seconded by LeBeau to approve the City Hall COVID-19 preparedness plan for the opening of City Hall, including motor vehicle, driver's license, and DNR departments on the stay-at-home order being lifted. Discussion?
We had closed these things prior to the stay-at-home order, is my recollection, at least motor vehicle.
Yes.
Is it the understanding that by this motion, we are opening automatically when that's lifted, or would we want a further motion from the council?
Well, that would be open for discussion. What would be your reason for not, or for, waiting for the council to act?
We don't know what a stay-at-home order might look like on Monday. I think even if the stay-at-home order expires, there are going to be significant restrictions on other things remaining. So that's why I'm leery about just saying, yes, automatically, we'll do that. But,
Well, so far, the motion is, when the stay-at-home order is lifted.
so that's how, I just want to make sure that we understand how the motion is interpreted. So as I made it, as it's phrased in here, that is opening with the lifting of the stay-at-home order.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Proceed to vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All right,
Opposed? None? That carried. All right. Well, we're hoping that in the wisdom of all the experts that are involved, that will work out.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. All right, then the next item is in regards to PTO, and Linda, do you want to update her? We have some that are getting close to maxing their PTO.
We do. We have 4 employees that are very close to maxing out on their PTO hours. Our maximum hours are 325. 2 reasons for that. One is due to COVID-19, and the second is due to the absence of the city administrator. These employees are trying to get time taken off, and they do have scheduled time off for the summer and fall. Under the circumstances, just asking if there's a possibility if those 4 employees could potentially have some extension on those hours through the end of the year or as needed, you know, for the longest time frame till the end of the year. I did talk to Angie at the union. In order to do this, there would have to be an MOU written up, but no problems, no issues with it.
So your PTO is up to 6 weeks?
325 hours, yeah.
And we have 4 people that almost hit 6 weeks since December?
We have 4 people that are almost maxed out, so at this point, they would lose hours.
And that happened since December?
It has not happened since last December. It has gotten worse because we can't it's been hard for those people to take time off.
Gotcha, all right.
And of
Yep.
course, every month you add to that.
Okay, now I'm following you.
How many hours are you allowed to carry over from year to year?
You can carry over the 325, you just can't go over 325. So as soon as you hit that, you stop earning.
Are there any that will be hit that cap before our next meeting? I don't have a problem with extending, doing something to,
We've got 1 at 319,
okay?
1 at 320, I believe. I think 1 at 305. They're all between 300 and 320. And they will be earning again on second pay period of May. We earn on the second pay period. And these are employees that are directly affected by the admin position or COVID-19.
Is part of this that we're not using them because of the shutdown? Everything is closed basically?
No, it's because those employees, A, are either so busy with COVID-19 they can't get away from work, or because they're trying to do the jobs left behind from the city admin position that they're struggling to get away from work.
So how many hours do you think they need? Or what are you actually asking?
Well, it's kind of open-ended, just to talk about if we could either lift the cap for the next few months or put a higher cap on it.
Approximately how many hours are accrued each month?
Between 16 and 19, I think.
Okay.
So approximately 2 days.
And we won't know until Thursday, potentially, what the timeline is going to be.
Correct.
So a lot of people had over 200 going into the first of the year.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So if we bump the cap up to, say, 400, that would give you approximately 3 months, and we could revisit at that time?
Sure.
I'll make the motion to allow 4 employees in question to continue to accrue PTO up to 400 hours without penalty through December 31st, 2020.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by LeBeau, seconded by Ertzberg to allow the 4 in question to continue to accrue PTO. Jennifer, what do you have, is up to a max of 400?
Accrue PTO up to a max of 400 hours without penalty through December 31st.
Without penalty through December 31st, 2020. Okay, did you get that? You hear that, Len?
Okay, the motion was for the 4 employees up to 400 hours.
Yes.
Now, I do have one question, since you have a second on it. Is there anybody else that's close that we're gonna annihilate by doing this, or should we make it all employees?
I don't believe there's anyone very close that is directly affected by those 2 items, no. You're a ways out.
So both Tom and I, with us having to field train officers, we have the opportunity to take off, and both of us are gonna be pushing close. I know by June, July, I will be at the point of losing PTO hours. And I think Tom's not too terribly far behind on that.
I think one of you was at like 270 and one at 250.
It'll be by July.
Okay.
So the ability for us to take time off is pretty much nil right now. Otherwise, we've got 2 new guys with nobody to train them, so.
Neither are any of the 4.
I think I would prefer that it be open to all employees. And then I also wonder, does this solve the problem? I mean, I'm not opposed to this idea, but what worries me is that these are individuals who haven't been able to take time off to which they're entitled. Simply by granting more hours, how does that address the issue at hand?
Well, they're not going to be losing hours if they still aren't able to take time off. They don't have to lose those hours that they would accrue. But I think, that was why I put the 400 on, because I feel like it's something that we should keep track of and not let it get too out of hand.
Yeah, I agree with that. If somebody, that's 6 weeks of PTO time that these individuals haven't taken thus far. They came into this year with 200 hours already. By adding that 75 hours, I worry that that doesn't address the problem of overwork where somebody can't take the time off to which they're entitled.
I think our thought process was potentially, Sean, that, COVID-19 hopefully has lightened up a bit, so that the one employee that is affected directly from that maybe would be able to, later in the summer, fall, be able to take more time off. And potentially, if we get that position filled, that would also allow more time. Obviously, there's gonna be some training involved there, but potentially that would allow a little more time for time off this summer and fall.
Okay. And are we sufficiently staffed to handle that if more people are taking time off in those sort of concentrated periods?
Hopefully.
Well, yeah, I would hope so too. We have opened up the cross-training aspect too, where, individuals could fill in.
To really address it, I imagine we need to lower what could be carried over.
There isn't a carryover amount, it's just a max. It's not like from year to year you carry an X amount over.
Maybe there should be.
It's just that this is the max, and once you hit that.
Because if you're gonna carry 300 into the new year, you're gonna be over.
Well,
There are people over the years that have lost some of these. I know one for sure has lost them because he never wanted to go on vacation.
Yeah, there's a few.
Now that he's married, he's going on vacation.
well, and there are some that maybe want to take a few weeks off in the wintertime if they're able, and so you want to carry as much over as you could at the end of the year. There are personal reasons for doing that.
I think that's why we put a limit of 350 on it at the time, to encourage people to use it. Now, I understand with the virus, it's a little different year and a little different play.
Well,
And I'm okay with the motion that I second, but down the road, I would like to go back to 350, and that's what it is.
well, we'll have a labor union contract coming up that we can
Okay.
and discuss that.
And there's no option to cash that out, or,
No, there is not.
okay.
Only when you resign or retire.
Well, I'll make a motion to amend the motion for all employees rather than just the 4 affected.
Can I just amend my motion?
Um,
No? Okay, I'll second his motion.
Okay. We have a motion to amend to remove the 4 and change it to all employees. That's a motion to amend by Ranky and seconded by LeBeau. Discussion on the amendment. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? None, that carried? Okay. Well, then we have before us the motion now amended to read all employees through 2020, December 31st, correct? 400 cap. Continue to accrue with no penalties. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? None? That carried. And then, so that covers your question in there, Chief, all right? Next one is dealing with hours at the liquor store, and Bill?
Yes.
Do you want to update everybody that's listening via Zoom, because they can't read our agenda? Maybe you want to use
Use
the
the microphone.
microphone?
So currently, as the report that we have on your council packet, there has been one change. Clerk 4 is willing to work, I'm sorry, Clerk 3 is willing to work more hours as well, up to 40 in the month of June and on. We're up $126,000 so far this year, and we're getting to the point to where I need more staffing. We've had some changes in staffing, as you can see, with some of my part-time help, as their jobs due to COVID has changed as well. Going into summer, talking to my staff, a lot of them would like more hours instead of hiring someone else. We did talk at the liquor board meeting the other night of possibly using a temp agency. But if I could bump up some of these folks that are already currently working for us and continue on, that would help us tremendously. We have a lot of things going on, and actually, City Hall girls came and helped clean. We could use some more help during the daytime when that busy time is hitting almost until 8 o'clock at night. So, and we did change our hours this weekend to start closing at 10 p.m. just because of the summer traffic, which we saw. Right now we're up 17,000 for this month already in 11 days. So there's a lot of unknowns, but if we could get through the busy time of the summer, I gain a staff member who's on medical leave right now. I'd like to predict what's going to happen this summer, but we don't know. But I'm just looking to grant these folks some extra hours instead of hiring someone if we can, and go from there. Just get your thoughts. This was brought up at Liquor Board, and they suggested we bring it forward to you guys this evening.
And this would require an MOU with
It would. I talked to
labor-
Angie. MOU needed. The union would like to see, for the 3 employees that he has that would be willing to go up to 40 hours, I asked if that was a concern due to like insurance and benefits, and she said it is not, but they would like to see, it's not mandatory, but they would like to see a small pay increase for those employees, those 3 employees that are willing to go to full-time, since they would not be getting the normal benefits of a full-time employee.
But they are getting extra hours.
What was that, Len?
The 32-hour people don't get full benefits?
No.
The problem is, how do you take it back? If you do that and then you reduce their hours again, it seems troubling.
Did you hear that, Lynn?
No.
Oh, that was Spooner, and let me paraphrase that, basically that it's, once you give a raise, it's tough to get that back, is that?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that'd be difficult to do, but.
There are a lot of other city liquor stores that have been paying their staff extra during during the pandemic. We did not approach you for that.
Technically, we're giving them a raise for letting them work more hours.
Yeah.
I didn't hear what he said.
What was that?
Can you repeat that, Len?
They said, actually, they're making more money because we're letting them work more hours.
Yes.
And we never came forward asking for more money because of the back pay that everybody received earlier. So,
I'm just trying to remember what did we authorize initially on the front end when we declared the local state of emergency? Did we allow the department heads to address their staffing needs as they saw fit?
I don't recall.
I think initially there was discussion about Ron and I being able to close City Hall as needed, but then that was kind of thrown off the table and it was closed as of that Tuesday, that week.
I remember when we were talking about the cross-training and that, you know, City Hall staff
Allowing
could go
the
out to the liquor
cross-training.
store if they needed and, you know, those kinds of things. I thought that there was a part of that discussion that
I recall our discussion wanting to be sure that everybody got their hours. But as far as the part-time, you know, increasing any of the part-time hours, I don't recall that being part of the discussion.
I don't either.
2 weeks' pay if they had to be gone due to COVID.
So Bill, I kind of figured it up here, by putting everybody up to 40, you're gaining about 26 hours.
Give or take, yeah.
And that's enough?
I would like to think so. You know,
Because one new employee would give you up to 32.
well, no, because usually new employees, we only hire for 14 to,
Oh,
yeah, so we'd have to hire a couple more. Because not many of them want to work over, you know, as a part-time.
well, I see your number 6, 7, and 8 are hardly giving you any work.
Right, and that's, you know, two of them are because of the COVID, you know, so.
And eventually that could change again. Where
The one staff member is going to maintain one day a week.
And after COVID, it could be more.
It could change because, you know, their job is affected because of it. Two of them are dramatically, so. I would think so.
I have nothing against going to the 40, but I like Bill said, the more money and more benefits,
But I got a quick question.
Go ahead.
If they're willing to work the 40 hours and willing to work up to 21 hours, then why don't we just let them work? They never asked for a raise to work 40 hours. They just, apparently Bill asked them and they said, yeah, they'd do it.
well, we're fighting the union is what it is.
No, it's not a fight.
Oh, we're
She
not.
just asked if the city would be willing to do that, and I did ask her, I said, okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. If the council is not interested in doing that, can we still give them up to 40 hours a week at their regular rate of pay? And she said yes.
When it comes to the benefits, though, it's based on an average work, correct?
Holidays are.
The holidays
Now,
are,
they don't
right.
get insurance,
No,
but your, like the holidays is an average number of hours worked in the previous quarter is what part-timers are given for their holiday pay.
but if somebody's working 32 hours now, and then we bump them up to 40 hours and say this goes on for 4 months or something, then they're potentially at that full time and could be entitled to benefits, correct?
If it's a temporary jump in hours, we do not have to offer insurance.
Okay, if it's temporary.
Correct. And I posed again through the end of the year, not knowing what kind of timeline
Yeah.
we're looking at.
I'm just, right, you know, currently I'm just worried about summer
Yeah,
right now. Because, you know, we've been kind of handling our own with, you know, late, it's just, as it gets, we got some holidays coming up that all hands on deck, is what I'm really concerned with. And that, when I talk to the other 2 staff members that are, because of their COVID, they're hoping once things start opening up that their hours will, they can actually work for us, so.
And clerk 3, did you say they were willing to go up to 40, or they just were willing to take more hours?
Go up to 40, yeah.
To 40.
Just not the month of May, but as of June, July, and that's when I really need the help.
And 5 will definitely be back middle of July?
Yes, yes.
So that will help. How many hours was clerk 5 getting?
14, 11 to 14.
Okay.
One evening, one weekend day.
So that's
that
back
would help.
14 hours, but. Well, I'm good with the up to 40 for those 3 employees with no additional pay or benefit. The extra hours is extra pay.
Did you find the minutes?
We did, the council meeting on March 23rd, there was a motion by Herzberg to authorize the liquor store manager to manage and adjust the store hours as necessary. There was also a motion by Ranky to leave City Hall open for now and give Merkin and Ludwig the authority to close City Hall, act accordingly, make personnel department appointments as necessary. Let's see. Motion by Rankin to allow city employees to cross-train any department that is needed with permitted necessary certifications. An authorization from the department heads. Doesn't specifically say doesn't say increased hours, but does say cross-training. It does say managing store hours. Make personnel department appointments. That was authorized by, to give authorization to Mergen and Ludwig, though.
Okay.
It didn't particularly say Bill.
Okay.
Was that a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the 3 employees up to 40 hours a week with no additional pay or benefits.
Through the summer? Or
As long as needed,
as long as needed?
as long as we're fighting the virus. And that would be Bill's discretion, I mean, based on your busyness and.
I think if things start slowing down, we'd all like to take some time off.
Well, if bars and restaurants ever reopen, I would assume you would probably slow down to a degree.
Yeah, there's just that unknown of how fast.
Maybe they'll
that
never
is.
reopen, who knows?
That'll change over. That's kind of, everything's up in the air, so.
We have a motion.
What was that motion? Did you tell me, Bill? I mean,
Len, the motion was to authorize Bill to increase the hours of the 3, that's clerk 1, clerk 2, and clerk...
3.
3, yep, clerks 1, 2, and 3, up to 40 hours for as long as necessary under the discretion of the liquor store manager, correct?
I'm willing to do clerk 4 up to the 21 also. That's on here. That's another staff hours.
And clerk 4 up to 21. So it's 1, 2, 3 up to 40 and clerk 4 up to 21 under Bill's discretion, at Bill's discretion.
And that was at the same rate of pay, correct?
Same rate of pay.
And that was a motion, I'll second that.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second. Motion by Hertzberg, seconded by Gilmore. Discussion. Like we haven't been discussing, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, I feel like we should maybe just put it through the summer and then we can readdress it in the fall if we need to. But I feel like we should, you know, especially since it's potentially some union issues with having people go to full-time, I feel like we should put that temporary status on it and readdress it if we need to.
I agree that this should probably be tied to the city's emergency declaration, if not the end of summer. But I'm also, can somebody just confirm, maybe I'm misremembering, but the liquor store clerks, because they're part-time, are paid off of the part-time wage scale, which is 3/4 of the full-time scale.
The 32-hour employees are paid on the full-time scale.
They are paid on the full-time
Yes,
scale.
it's the 14-hour employees that are paid on the part-time scale.
So simply moving those employees from the part-time to the full-time would not increase anything because they're already there.
Correct.
What about the 26 to 30 hours? Is that also a full-time pay scale?
Yes, he's on that full-time scale also.
He can work up to 32. That's
Okay.
just his average hours is 26.
I guess where I'm coming from is these are individuals who are dealing with an influx of people. We're 17,000 over budget for this month alone. They're dealing with possibly infected citizens all the time. There's a danger element to that, and I think that needs to be rewarded a little bit. I don't know what the cleanest way of doing that is. I was hoping we could just temporarily move them to the full-time scale, but we can't. So I disagree with the not increasing their wage part of this.
Could we offer like a weekly bonus?
That maybe.
I don't think as a city we are allowed to provide bonuses. Is that correct, Bill?
Could we call it hazard pay?
Hazard pay?
Yeah.
Some of the other cities have used hazard pay.
I mean, that's really what it is. Like they're putting themselves at risk.
That's the slang terminology I've heard is hazardous pay.
The problem I have with it is, you know, how do you give that to liquor store employees and not give it to all the employees? I mean, where do you draw the line on that? I don't know. I mean, that seems like an arbitrary thing to decide that the employees in the liquor store are entitled to hazard pay and the rest of your employees aren't. But I guess you could make that call if you thought that was a real thing. But to me, it doesn't seem like, that seems like an imaginary line to say people at the liquor store are exposed to COVID and the people elsewhere aren't. I think all people in society today are exposed to that risk. If you want to work, you're going to be exposed to it. I don't care what you're doing. So, I mean, if the city as a city wants to pay hazard pay to its employees, but I can't see drawing that line at the liquor store as a logical line, I guess everything doesn't have to be logical, but to me that makes no sense.
Okay. As it stands now, the motion is to authorize Bill to allow clerks 1, 2, and 3 up to 40 hours and clerk 4 up to 21 hours with no increase of pay with no end date on it, correct?
Correct.
Can I make a motion to amend that motion?
You certainly can.
I would make the motion to amend it to say that this would be temporary through the summer.
Noted for the record, Jennifer, that it wasn't me. I'll second that.
For like Labor Day, is that your thought, or?
Yeah, through Labor Day.
That'd be perfect.
What was the amendment?
The amendment is to replace the timeline from no end date to through the end of the summer.
Labor Day.
Labor Day.
Well, Labor Day, okay, I didn't catch that. Through Labor Day. Labor Day.
Yeah, through Labor Day.
Through Labor Day and not open-ended as far as timeline.
Yep, that's a good idea.
Okay, that is the motion to amend. Any other discussion on that? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? None? That does carry then. So now we do have the motion, which is to allow the liquor store manager to, for clerks 1, 2, and 3 up to 40 hours, clerk 4 up to 21 hours through Labor Day. Correct? Any discussion on that? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? That carried. All right. Ron, Parks.
Yes, thank you. We did have a park board meeting and the
You
park-
get up close to the mic so Len can
All
hear you.
right,
there,
thank you.
too.
Can you hear me, Len? Okay, park board, parks are scheduled to be open next week. And we do have our first reservation at Veterans Park on May the 30th.
I don't know if we can hear you.
Where,
Are you
sorry,
hearing me, Len?
where are we at on the agenda?
Yeah, you got to put it right in front of you.
It's still on this one.
Oh, okay, I missed
Is
it.
that better?
Len, can you hear Ron?
Try it again.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Yep, you're good.
Okay, as we stated, the park board had met and the parks are scheduled to be open next week. In fact, Veterans Park restrooms with a fishing opener, the restrooms were open out there. Our first scheduled reservation is for May the 30th. Park board had suggested that we continue to follow the governor's recommendations, except they felt strongly we need to keep the restrooms open. But the park and playground, or the playground equipment, we could keep posted as closed. I guess they did not make any recommendation as for the reservations, if we want to keep that open. But then the concert in the park, they felt everybody could social distance very well there, and that should be kept on schedule. So I guess the decision, do we want to open the parks completely? I did contact a couple communities today. One local community is opening all their parks, and another one is keeping them closed. So it is pretty much just a local decision that does need to be made at this point.
Hey, the concerts in the park are basically the big gatherings of
Yes.
people other than the
That's the
family
gatherings, but
reunions or whatever.
Yes.
Were you-
Members there felt pretty strongly, though, that very easily to social distance at that point.
I think we also, didn't we talk about that? We would have one more park and tree meeting the beginning of June where we could readdress it based on
Yes.
where things were at with the, whatever the orders are.
But with the Veterans Park reservations coming up, I think the people who have the reservations would appreciate as much notice at this point as we could give them.
What is the park committee's recommendation to open or?
They didn't actually make a recommendation on the Veterans Park, on the reservations.
How, do you have reservations into June, other than concert in the park?
We have June 30th, May 5th, or June 6th, June 5th, June 6th, the 11th, I believe, the 10th. So it's pretty much every weekend from here on out, or starting June 30th. There was several that did cancel, but for the most part, the majority of them have kept their reservations. You know, maybe they plan to significantly downsize. I guess that I haven't been in contact with them.
As it stands now, the Veterans Park would be open, correct?
That is correct.
That is
Yes.
correct.
I think at the very least, we might want to consider sending letters or notifying those people in writing, just that, you know, we are not going to be sanitizing immediately before their event and that there may be risks associated with it. I don't know if Bill has thoughts on that, but that's just a thought that I had.
I don't know, and I suppose the other thing, you know, would be to consider putting it as in the, I think we always have people sign a little rental thing, but I suppose those people have already signed it.
Yes, they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can just post the proper signage out there that,
Yeah.
you know, we clean them, but, you know, like you said, we're not going to go out there an hour before they get there and clean them.
Right.
And even if you do, it's still a public park that somebody could use in the interim time.
Yeah. Because I'm comfortable with leaving it the way it is and then see what happens with the 18th. Not that it's probably going to make a whole lot of difference. Say the concert in the parks are the ones that I'm more concerned about than the actual use of the shelter. And if the equipment is still marked as closed or off limits, and we do post some type of a signage in the shelters.
I guess we kind of had that same discussion this weekend at our lake association. There's some common bathrooms and some thought they should be closed, and we ended up, the consensus was to leave them open, but you enter at your own risk, and if you want to clean them yourself before you use them, that you sure can. And this is kind of the same. If people want to carry a spray bottle and spray down a little, that's, use at your own risk. A little common sense goes a long ways.
I think ultimately where I'm coming from is, the data is few and far between on this, but what we do know sort of confirmed is that the sunlight does really limit the virus's ability to live. I'm not talking about injecting the light into our body. I'm just saying, on a nice warm summer day where these parks are, that presents a lesser risk than, touching something that somebody might have sneezed on a few seconds prior.
All right. Okay.
I guess one other bit of park news at the beach, we did have the fishing pier. I did get a call from the DNR today, and it's very likely the pier will be on site at the end of this week or early next week.
Oh.
But he said they will not have the manpower to assist or help with installation.
Oh, that's good news.
That's good.
I think Chief has a question.
I've got a question.
Yes.
So when it comes to the concert in the park and stuff like that, I know we currently have our playgrounds and stuff like that posted not to be used. Now, I gotta admit, I usually golf on Thursdays, so I'm not down at the concert in the park. But I can just foresee if we've got families and stuff like that down there, those 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds running over that playground, playing on it, playing on that equipment, not reading the signs that are posted saying do not play on this equipment. And now we're, from a PD side of things, we're in the standpoint of having to kick young kids off of playground equipment if somebody calls in and complains. Now, obviously, I agree with Councilman Ranke. It's kind of all over the board here as to whether or not sunlight actually, impacts the virus's ability to live. Is that something, though, that we can either tape off, fence off, or, somehow if we're going to leave those things closed, somehow close them off in a better manner so, we're not put in that position to have it go down there during concert in the park and be like, sorry, get off the playground equipment. Because eventually somebody's going to call in and complain.
They are taped, aren't they?
They're just signed.
Currently, just signed,
They're
okay.
just signed, yes.
I think part of the discussion at the Park and Tree meeting was when we installed the playground equipment and we had the yellow caution tape around, there were people who went under that and played on the equipment anyway. So unless we're going to do some kind of more secure fencing, it's likely people are going to just still make their choices.
When's the first one scheduled?
It's towards the
Week
end of
after what
June.
Town and Country Days was supposed to be.
Yes, I believe that the week after Town and Country Days.
Okay, towards the end of June.
Yes.
Good.
I think the 25th or something.
Somewhere right in there, yes.
We'll keep that under consideration.
Just my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
It's, we haven't had too many kids out playing on them, so it hasn't been a big issue right now. But part of me thinks that it may just be better to post on there that, very similar to the shelter, and even the bathroom saying, hey, look, we're not out here sanitizing this every hour. Basically use at your own risk.
I have kind of an off-the-wall suggestion or idea. I don't know. What what is the likelihood, Bill, that we could pass like a resolution declaring ourselves a First Amendment sanctuary city?
I don't even know what that means.
Well, I mean, like, there's all these, they declare sanctuary cities where, you know, Second Amendment sanctuary cities where people can have guns regardless of what legislation is passed at the state and federal level, and sanctuary cities where, you know, illegal immigrants aren't necessarily going to be turned over to the police. So, you know, could we be a sanctuary city where people still can have the freedom to gather as they see fit based on, you know, their understanding of the data and what their risks they're willing to take?
I know that, I mean,
Bill, put the, closer to the microphone there so Len can be sure to hear.
I think there are liability issues with doing that, and there's, I think that city officials taking that action potentially expose themselves to some risk. I think I don't know if the state would take a hard line on it, but I think they could, if what we're doing is promoting activities that are in violation of the governor's order. I think the league's guidance is that, you know, their concern is that the state would look at that as misconduct by a public official. And that potentially you would be at some risk as a city official taking that stance, and that the state might step in and do enforcement action. I don't know. I don't know how serious that possibility is, but I know the league is suggesting that cities not move in that direction. I know there's pressure on cities to do that. I mean, there's a lot of cities that that are even, they're not going quite that far, but they're passing resolutions urging the governor to open things up, and I think that's become fairly common. But I think the league is saying, don't go to the next level and say we're going to ignore the governor, because they think that exposes cities to some potential liability and their officials as well individually. That's what I've read. The league, that's the warning that the league is putting out. I don't know. I guess everybody has to evaluate what they think realistically the prospects are that the state would be that aggressive in the enforcement, but I think I know there's some bars that are saying they're just going to open, and I think there may be some cities that are inclined to say we're not going to do anything about it. And I have a feeling somebody at a higher level is going to, and there could be some repercussions if cities instruct their law enforcement, for example, to ignore it. I think that would not be a wise decision.
I guess part of my personal struggle is that when I took my oath of office, you know, I raised my hand and swore to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Minnesota, and, you know, both of those give citizens the right and the protection of their liberties and their freedoms, and part of that is the freedom to gather.
I don't disagree with you, but I would say that cities have no powers not given to them by the state, and I think you place yourself at risk when as a city who has no authority to do anything that's not authorized by the state, and you know the state has specifically mandated a certain policy that you as a city then try to act against it. You just don't have the authority to do it under Minnesota Constitution. So I think, you know, people have the right to challenge the actions of the state, but cities really aren't in a position to do that. They're a product of the laws of the state purely, and they only have the powers given to them by the state. So I think you are much more limited in terms of what you can do. I suspect there are some individuals who are going to challenge this at some point, perhaps. I don't know.
I think there's already been a class action lawsuit filed, from my understanding, but I don't know where that.
Yeah, and there have been in different states, and most of them, at least initially, have been dismissed. But I think it'll go on. But I don't know if anything will get. I hope that the problem doesn't continue long enough for it to get resolved. But it may. We'll see.
And I think at the end of the day, even the First Amendment is not absolute. We still have rights on various things. The famous example being you can't shout fire in a crowded theater, despite a free speech provision of the First Amendment. And I agree that it's our duty to uphold the Constitution whenever possible, but we also have a duty to look out for those citizens least able to do that for themselves. And that's what the stay-at-home order is doing. So I think it's our job to support those guidelines.
What citizens aren't able to make the choice to stay in their homes and isolate themselves if they feel like they're at risk?
Those would be those who are caregiving for those who are most at risk. So we have a huge influx of, cases in nursing homes and facilities. Those are individuals who can't leave, who can't be exposed to this in public, but yet the virus is getting into these places. And it's getting in there through visitors, through caregivers, through those who are caring for them, because those individuals still have to go get groceries. They still have to put gas in their car. They might have kids who still go to daycares. It's multifaceted. You can't look at just opening things up because there are multiple layers at issue here.
Yeah, I agree with you that there are multiple layers. I just personally feel like the data and the numbers don't really support the extent of measures that have been taken. And I feel like it's at the point or maybe past the point where it's a violation of people's personal liberties and freedoms. And I'm concerned about our local business owners. I'm concerned, like, why is it okay for us to go to Walmart or for us to go to Home Depot and get things to work on home projects, but yet we're not allowed to go and have dinner in a restaurant here and support our local business owners and our neighbors? I just have a really strong personal struggle with that. I fully understand, and, do you have a motion to bring here? Or? I don't have a motion at this time. I guess I'm just exploring, like, is there a resolution that we could draft and discuss?
Okay.
That would just, I guess, show our city council support of and concern for our residents and our local businesses.
So Alicia, you're saying what everybody's been saying on Facebook, that they want the city council to send a letter to the governor stating that we want all the small businesses opened up? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not necessarily saying a letter to the, I don't know exactly what I'm saying. I haven't really spent much time on Facebook lately, Len. So whether it's a letter to the governor or whether it's a resolution that we pass, or even just discuss, I guess it's not like I have anything drafted, but would like to, can we at least look at drafting something like that and then discuss it further?
Well, can bring something to the next council meeting if you choose to.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? We've gone through the departments.
Going back to parks for a second, the playgrounds are closed because we voted that, not because the governor required it, right?
It is part of the CDC.
It is part of the declaration.
Yeah.
Was it? Okay. I guess I'd seen mixed things about whether the governor had required it or not, so that's why I was rechecking here.
Tom had left, but I'm pretty sure that was part of the initial directive.
I think it was. I think I read that the other day in his initial stay-at-home order.
I would have to look it up. I thought it said something about it, but at the same time, I know, the media has been out there on multiple different levels on what different communities are doing as far as their playground equipment when it comes to the parks. I think Minneapolis had their parks open for a while, and then they shut down like their basketball hoops and stuff like that, so that they couldn't have, those close contact sports, that sort of thing. So I think it's kind of all over the map on playgrounds.
I think that's correct, because if you look at the school, theirs is open. All their playground equipment is open, and according to they felt that the way they interpreted it, they could keep it open.
And that's what I'm seeing from the Minneapolis Park and Rec Board as well. It just says that the Minnesota Department of Health guidelines do not recommend the closure of playgrounds. So I'm just wondering, if we're talking about opening the parks and letting those be open, should we reconsider the playgrounds at the same time so we don't have the issue of having to kick an 8-year-old off a swing?
Yeah, well, the parks have always been open,
Correct, but not the playground equipment.
not the equipment.
I know that I was reading the CDC recommendations today, and they have on their recommendations to have playground equipment closed. And I thought that I had read it in one of the governor's executive orders over the weekend that I was looking through as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were we planning on meeting on Monday with all of the interview stuff to have one of those special COVID meetings again?
I don't believe you have any free time.
Not until 5, it looks like.
Unless we do it in the morning.
There is a leadership staff lunch, includes the council candidates, leadership staff at 11:45 to 12:45. A working lunch?
I was just wondering if maybe we shouldn't just bring that back up again in a week when we get close to that stay-at-home expiration, or if it has happened by then.
Could we do like a 9:30 or a 10 o'clock meeting?
Well, I think we should wait till the governor's will be talking at 2 on the 19th.
Yeah.
So maybe we should wait till he's
He'll talk
done and.
on
Well,
Thursday.
he'll extend it before then if he's going to, because it expires.
Thursday is when he's expected
Okay, I thought it
to.
wouldn't be till Monday.
No, because it expires at Monday at midnight, like
So we could do Friday.
It expires the 17th.
the 17th at, 11:59 PM
So
on Sunday.
Monday, we would know what is going down.
Well, Thursday we should know.
Well, maybe we should meet Friday.
That's what I'm wondering.
Does that work for you, Lynn?
What's that?
Our Monday meeting is Friday?
Friday?
11:45?
Yep, that'll work.
Okay.
Can we make it noon?
Noon?
Yeah,
Okay.
just because I'm gotta be in the office, and if we've got someone in custody, I'm probably gonna be at a hearing until at least 11:45.
Okay. We did 11:45 for Lynn.
Yeah.
We can do noon for you.
Okay, thanks.
Noon?
I'll zoom in for that one, Belinda.
I will probably zoom in as well.
All right then, anything else on our friend COVID? All right, we got one item done. Up to new business, item A, Public Works, establishing fees for Public Works personnel on page 5, and those are detailed in the resolution there.
Okay, I guess this stems from several meetings ago, we did approve the contract with the city of Lake Henry, and that did update all our labor hours, or what we charge per hour, and this resolution, actually could say from time to time, we do go out and mostly in emergency situations would go to other local municipalities, and it's just established as those same rates that we did adopt with the Lake Henry contract.
I move to approve Resolution 2020-09, establishing fees for Public Works employees.
Second.
Motion by Rinky, seconded by LeBeau to approve Resolution 2020-09, establishing fees for Public Works employees. Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? None? That carried. A, item B, TRICAP mortgage satisfactions. We have, what, 5 of them there to get recorded?
Yes, we went through the TRICAP, the old TRICAP loans, they're all satisfied. These individuals, they were never recorded satisfactions, so we had those drawn up and would like a motion to approve those.
I'll move to approve the TRICAP mortgage satisfactions for the individuals listed on page 7 of the agenda packet.
Second.
Motion by Renke, seconded by Hertzberg to approve the TriCap mortgage satisfactions for Matthew and Danielle Dickhausen, Davis Hoekstra, and Amelia Musser Hoekstra, Emerson and Sarah Juma, Darren Bakes, and David Leggett. Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? None. And that one carried. And the tier hanger lease change is coming through the airport committee. Ron?
Yes, the recommendation from the Airport Commission is to go from a 2-year contract down to a 1-year contract. I guess this came about, we do have a pilot who is asking for he was looking at for approximately 1 year. In our current rates, we do have the monthly rate at $250. Obviously, that would be, if he took it for a whole year, that would be quite a bit in excess of what it would almost be for if he had a, at the $100 for the year. So there was a recommendation from the Airport Commission to go from the 2-year down to a 1-year contract. I guess this will also would allow us, if we do, or when we do raise rates, as it is in there, that we do have to wait for the anniversary date. So it could be raised within a 1 year instead of the 2-year time period.
And also help fill up the T-hanger.
Correct.
Yes. Ron, why are we at 100 instead of 120?
The north-facing hangars, if you go at those in the wintertime, they are extremely miserable, and there is a period of time in there where pilots virtually cannot use those hangars.
These rental ones are the north-facing?
The
monthly or
the annual, the 1-year contract would be for all of them, not just the north-facing.
I think you're asking what, the ones that you keep for daily, weekly, or monthly rental, where are those, are they?
Oh, correct, that will be some of the north-facing hangars.
Right.
Yes.
So the 100 is what normally is what those are.
Yes.
And the south-facing are staying at 120.
They're staying at 120, as are the new hangars will be at 120.
I'll make the motion to change the term of the T-hanger lease to a minimum of 1 year.
Second.
Motion by Hertzberg, seconded by LeBeau to change the term of the T-hanger lease to a minimum of 1 year. Discussion?
Just to confirm, this is not going to affect the existing contracts, is the understanding, right? Because those are still already signed. Okay, good.
Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? None. That carried. Item B, under old business, city administrator position, and we have an update there. We had that email that I think everybody got from Liza, and I guess the one key thing on there was the one candidate that it looks like if we do continue with this, would probably not continue to seek an interview.
And she's not naming that candidate.
No, she hasn't.
What was that, Neil?
She's not naming that candidate, or
No.
are we not entitled to know?
You could probably make a good guess at it.
I don't know. I'd like to know because it would affect my decision of if we should continue on.
If it's health related, there could be HIPAA issues.
Did you read it?
And, there are certain questions you can't ask during an interview either, right?
That's true.
Especially health related.
That is true.
Did you read the email? Did you get that email?
Yeah, I couldn't figure out which one it is.
Well, this letter says that she's heard back from one and waiting to hear back from another about whether they need hotel reservations.
Yeah. Narrows it down probably.
Yeah, I'm just going to reaffirm my position that I feel like we need to put the brakes on this process, and especially now in light of our candidates being narrowed down even more, that we would probably be better off reposting this job in like July.
Well, we already have everything set for next week, right?
What was that, Lynn?
We have everything set for next week.
Well, everything except for the big giant unknown of whether the governor is going to extend our stay-at-home order in some capacity.
And the social distancing as far as what, we can do here. We, have tried to make allowances for that, but, again, I was not in favor of this last time, hoping we could gain a little more time and some more knowledge, but I'm not sure if we've gained any more knowledge of going forward. We have two that are coming from out of state. We have the one from Michigan, which is under more of a lockdown than we are here. I hate to, pardon the expression, kick this can down the road another couple of months, but that might be a very distinct possibility.
I think that to me, it's really important that we have public input on this process. And I just feel like down the road, we likely will have, fewer restrictions and more opportunities to get that public input. And from what I have read, the federal recommendations and guidelines still do not recommend groups larger than 10 gathering. And I don't foresee those changing in the next week.
I know, Sean, you were on the side of moving forward. Your thoughts?
Regarding the person that may have to withdraw, I have an email out to Liza, and I haven't heard back yet, just to see if they're available by video means. I mean, we have lots of ways of doing this in other ways. I'm still hesitant to put the brakes on this, but I get it.
Len?
My opinion is that we're this far in the game. I can't see how we can bail out now. We have to wait and play it through.
So you think it would be better to bail out Thursday afternoon if the governor extends his orders?
Right, because if we bail out Thursday afternoon, it's not on us, it's on the governor, and we can save face that way. Plus, you don't know what the governor is going to do.
Thursday's a pretty short timeline if people have, especially the one that needs a hotel accommodation.
Right.
Make travel arrangements.
You have two of them coming from out of town.
Two of them, yep. Neil, you were in favor of...
Especially, I'm losing my voice, especially for only basically now 3 applicants. I don't think that's enough to... We want to get the best applicant that's going to help our city, and I guess I'd be in favor of kicking the can.
You want to make that motion, Neil?
And I'll make the motion to kick the can.
I'll second the motion.
Okay.
Okay. Let's hammer this out in an acceptable format that basically...
Which would be to reopen, the same company to...
Reopen the position to...
means it's not gonna cost us a penny more. He was gonna give us 2 rounds, and this would be round 2.
I think her initial alternate schedule she sent out was it would repost in July.
I'm okay with that. So yeah, the motion would be to resubmit the process.
End the current.
We would have to, let's see, what's the word I want to use, to
Withdraw?
You could like reject all applications.
Reject
Point,
all
And you'd open
applications.
up
Yep,
the
and
position again in July.
reopen the position. Okay,
We reject and repost.
reject and repost.
And repost in July.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Mhm.
And are we saying July 1st or July 15th or July 31st?
I think you should say, you would repost on a schedule to be worked out with
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
firm, I think.
Yep.
I don't think you want to tie their hands to the exact date. I think you want to let them decide based on information, because this is, as everybody says, a fluid situation.
Fluid, yes.
Unprecedented.
Yes, unprecedented.
These troubling times, isn't it? No. So the motion is to reject the remaining applications and repost the position.
On a schedule to be worked out with the search firm.
Yep. Are we clear? Are you clear on that, Len? Did you get that?
The motion is to reject everything and start over.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a huge mistake.
Hey, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Well, can we discuss that for a
Oh,
second?
yeah, sure. Discussion.
By rejecting all applicants, are we forbidding, I mean, are we preventing those who currently are scheduled for interviews from applying in the next go-around?
No.
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 Okay.
Matter
And
of
then,
fact, I would encourage them.
Yeah.
yeah. And then my second question is going back to our earlier motion on the PTO. Part of that PTO problem was because we don't have an administrator. So while we're kicking this can down the road, we're also creating other obstacles in City Hall.
Could we look at staffing needs in City Hall and see if maybe like an assistant, hiring an assistant to help with some of that stuff in the interim, like as a temporary? Would that be a policy and procedure discussion?
I'm open to anything that would solve the problem. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Whether or not it's, I don't, to go through the committee process, it might be worth something, you know, if this motion passes, to discuss it on Friday. And, you know, we've had time to think, staff has had time to maybe look at, you know, other options of, you know, internal, we've talked about, you know, the cross-training. We don't know if City Hall is going to be opening or not. You know, by then, we should have some more information.
Mm-hmm.
I'd also like to know if the people who are at issue would be able to do video interviews, and how we might be able to set something like that up before just deciding to throw this all away.
Yeah, it would be,
I myself, on the quality of the videos and the unable to hear, and I just don't think it would do justice.
I think it would put them at a disadvantage to not be here in person and be able to take the tours and have the luncheons and all the other things that are scheduled.
we have discovered we do have problems with technology.
I've been dealing with the courthouse as it tries to figure out how to do it. I get it.
Yes. Okay, anything else? We're probably not going to have that question answered by the time we vote.
Probably not. Liza hasn't gotten back to me yet.
Okay, the motion is to reject and repost with a timeline.
Reject all current applicants, reopen the position on a schedule to be worked out worked out with the search firm.
With the search firm. Okay. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
We have two opposed. My vote is aye. We will reject and repost. It does carry. And then we will,
3 to 2, you said?
3 to 2, yep. And that will be on our agenda on Friday, too.
To look at staffing needs?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So we'd start instructing staff then to take time this week to brainstorm?
See what can help get us through in the meantime.
Policies is meeting on Wednesday. Can we throw this on that agenda, or are we too late for that?
Can put an update, yeah. Yep.
Might as well. If it's gonna have to go through that committee anyway.
I don't see an issue with that. Still, hopefully, fast line this as much as we can. Okay. Ordinance number 12, third series, chapter 2, council agenda procedures on page 31. This was something we have been discussing. We got the, before us now, the actual, oops.
So this is already, we've just looked at it as informational. It's been posted for the 10 days? Okay. I'll make the motion to approve ordinance number 12, third series.
Second.
Motion by LeBeau, seconded by Rinky to approve ordinance number 12, third series. Discussion?
On page 32, about halfway down, number 5, item 3, police chief, fire chief, and liquor store. The fire chief is not on there. Is he not every 2 months, or what's, or is that a typo?
Say that again?
Item 5, sub 3. Middle of the page.
Police chief, fire chief, and liquor store?
Yes.
I see what you're saying. I don't know if that's a typo or if that's the way it was, but it seems odd.
Probably a typo because we didn't have the fire.
Well, I
chief
would
on
think
it
you'd
before.
want the fire chief every 2 months also, I don't know.
We can add that.
Okay. So I'll amend the motion to approve that with the change.
I think we will assume that that's a typo and it's just been left off.
Okay.
Is that okay, Bill?
I think that's.
Yeah.
I mean, being he was
Housekeeping
listed,
issue? Yep.
but it shows I do read my agenda.
Never doubted it. Do you get that, Lynn? Okay, any discussion on the motion to approve the ordinance? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? None, that carried. All right, and then, Chuck and Ron are still here. Seal coat improvement bids on page 34. Ron?
Yeah, I'll give an update on the 2020 Seal Coat project. We opened bids on April 23rd. We received 2 bids. They range from a low of $106,999 to a high of $164,665.17. Both were actually under the estimate for the project. The low bid was submitted by Aztec Corporation out of St. Cloud. They've been in business for many years doing this type of work, so they are definitely qualified to complete the project. Therefore, if the council wishes to move forward, we'd recommend the contract be awarded to Aztec Corp. of St. Cloud in the amount of $106,999.
It's a great time to be saving money. I'll make the motion to approve the bid from Asphalt Surface Technologies Corp., St. Cloud, Minnesota, in the amount of $106,999 for the 2020 seal coat improvements.
Second.
Motion by LeBeau, seconded by Hertzberg to approve the bid from Asphalt Surface Technologies Corp., otherwise known as Aztec Corp., St. Cloud, Minnesota, in the amount of $106,999 for the 2020 seal coat improvements. Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? None? That carried. Item E, the AMPI expansion project. Chuck?
Yeah, the AMPI expansion project is nearing completion. Really, everything's done. They're working on more of the final punch list items. Once those items are done, we'll be initiating the operation of the new facility out there. So that we're hoping in the next couple weeks. In your packet is a copy of pay request number 10, which is for work completed in the month of April in the amount of $287,277.15.
I move to approve payment estimate number 10 payable to Eagle Construction Company in the amount of $287,277.15.
Second.
Motion by Rinky, seconded by LeBeau to approve payment estimate number 10 payable to Eagle Construction Company, Inc. in the amount of $277,277.15. Discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? None? That carried. Anything else on that? That's it? All right. All right. Item F, library. Aha, Vanna.
Like to buy a library?
Yes, okay. Well, let's see here. Belinda and Alicia will give a verbal report, assisted by Megan.
And I do have something to.
Am I allowed
You
to
need a
speak
pointer?
up? Maybe.
Oh,
Can I talk? Is that okay?
we need a microphone.
Oh, Lordy.
We can wheel out the podium for you.
Yay.
I love the pillars. Is that
Does that look familiar?
from Blandon?
No,
Oh, okay.
from our LMC
Oh.
conference that we went to.
Just a happy coincidence.
It was, the timing was perfect. We had that conference, and then the next Monday, we had our
Oh, yeah.
first library board meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so our library board had several meetings. I don't know exactly how many, but over the course of those meetings, we put a lot of time and energy and discussion and research into all of the options that we could come up with and that were recommended to us. And last week, our ad hoc board voted to recommend moving the library to the Coronis Commons building as the best option that we have. So the first pillar there is that it basically is our only viable option at this point. We have 35 active businesses operating in our downtown area, and so there are not a lot of empty buildings. The ones that are empty and available generally have some sort of water damage or have been left empty and have, potential mold or mildew, or structurally are not sound enough to withstand the weight that would be required to house a library. The other option that we looked at was moving the library into our current City Hall building. When we looked at the price comparison and the square footage that we would gain, the representatives from Great River Regional Library said that a community our size could handle a roughly 4,000 to 6,000 square foot library. So moving the library from its current location to City Hall would put us around the 4,000 foot or 4,000 square foot option, which is at the bottom end of that, and really would only gain us about 1,200 square feet, and that cost would be the same as moving it out to the Coronis Commons building, where we could be at the top end of that 6,000 square feet. I think I hit all the points on that one.
You have.
Okay, do you want to do the?
Sure. The next one is creating a community gathering space. Some of the key points there are a maker space, the black box theater. There's more room for computers out there. The community meeting room could be utilized for more programming, for rentals. And there's a place for parents and kids when their potential sibling is in a sporting event or at practice. They have somewhere to go. Very visible.
Yeah, and just the one point there too, that it would be a great opportunity to create more of a partnership with our township and our school district as well. The third pillar there is that it's the most cost-effective option. As I said earlier, the price to move the library here or to move it out to the the new potential location would be about the same, according to the estimates that we got from Chuck DeWolf. It would also mean that all of our city entities would potentially be in one building out there. We would then have the sale of the current library building that would offset some of those costs, as well as the potential sale or rental of the current city hall building. That option includes a $200,000 donation from Community LLC, and also that there is potential for grant money and donations to come in through our Friends of the Library group. And they will go the furthest when we start from a blank slate out there versus having to do demolition and remodel of a current building.
And the last pillar is improving accessibility to the community. It's not just used by downtown residents, but also township and lake residents. The parking was the greatest concern mentioned in the survey. There is more traffic, more visibility out in the Shopko location. And based on the survey, the location did not seem to greatly impact the use of the library. We have given you a shortened version I handed out tonight of the library survey results. The first question was if they are a resident of Painesville. 99% of the respondents were. Painesville or surrounding area, excuse me. The second question was, do you use the library in Painesville? 85% said yes. The third question was, does the building location play a role in your decision to use the library? 53% said yes. Do you use the library because it's downtown? 69% said no. Do you not use the library because it's downtown? 86% said no. So it doesn't seem to be a huge factor. Would you discontinue using the library if it is relocated out of the downtown area? 20% said yes. The biggest group of comments were larger space needed. There was 32 answers that said larger space was needed. 29 said parking is an issue. 22 said they like the downtown location. 16 said it needs to be easily accessible. 14 said they like moving it out to the Shopko area. 10 said they want more amenities. 8 felt it is not safe in its current location. And 4 said that amenities are more important than location.
You think those numbers would have been different to utilize the library because of which don't have internet service or can experience some of those numbers?
Can you repeat that, Len?
Do you think those numbers would have been a lot different on the survey if the library was open and those who wouldn't have access to the survey or the computers would have different answers?
I don't know that was something that I know had come up when we discussed how we were going to present the survey and how it was going to reach as many people as possible. And then with the, all the emergency shutdowns and everything, we didn't get to do everything that we had hoped. But I think that we found, we would have preferred if we had had a mail option, but the number was pretty small of people who weren't able to access this in one way or another if they preferred. So I don't think it would have made a huge difference, but I guess perhaps.
Mail surveys can be fairly sketchy too.
Yes.
With people.
Yep.
I know I get bunches of them and most of them end up
Absolutely.
either good intent to fill them out and then forget to send them in or whatever.
I think typically surveys tend to have a less than 20% response rate anyway.
Right.
And these were able to be done on your smartphone or your computer
Yep.
or whatever, so.
And the library's Wi-Fi is still operating, so you have the option to sit on the road in front of the library and do that too. The other thing that we did talk about at our last meeting is the fact that, no matter where the library is, there's going to be safety concerns as far as pedestrians and people on bikes having to cross a busy road. And we also talked about the fact that this town really is not that big. It's, roughly like a little over a mile from one end to the other. So no matter where in the town we move the library to or put the library, it's not making it inaccessible to people. It might be slightly more inconvenient to some than others, but it's still going to be fairly accessible to everybody in our community here.
I think also that with the, what they're doing now, because of the library shutdown and they're having to do drop-offs and things like that, I know that it's been slightly discussed that if there is a population that isn't able to access the library as much as they used to when it was moved, we can discuss some options to help that, to see how we can reach those people. So, and this is one of the very small silver linings about the whole thing, is that we're seeing what it looks like when the library is open but not open. So we can look at some accessibility issues.
Are there any questions? Comments?
Thank you all for your hard work. That was not an easy group as far as meeting lengths and the work that you put in, so.
They put in almost as many hours as policy and procedures.
They may have passed us with our last month's hours.
Yeah, no, I think it was a good group.
I would say, it was kind of interesting to note that at our first meeting, most of the people on that board were pretty adamant that they wanted the library to stay downtown. And by our last meeting, 5 of the 7 had realized that in terms of what's best for our community on the whole, it would be to move the library out of downtown.
And I just wanted to, there was a lot of information that I wasn't aware of going in, obviously, and just given some of the responses to the comments on the survey, I think that there might be some misinformation among the community, and I just wanted to be here if any of you have any questions, and also if we can look at a later date, just letting the community know that we're available to discuss some of those things. Because I think that we all did take it very seriously, that we were not out for what we personally thought was best, but that what's going to help the community. And I think there were a lot of questions about things, or some strong feelings about some things, for options that aren't feasible, and you wouldn't necessarily know that. And I would really like it if we could let people in on those things, because I don't want anyone to feel that we made this decision lightly, because we didn't. So
I guess I have a comment.
Mm-hmm.
You did and I'm sure you put in a lot of time and a lot of meetings and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a little concerned with question 1. Are you a resident of Painesville or the surrounding area?
Mm-hmm.
Because in essence, whether we spend 500 or 2,200, the bottom line is who gets to pay. It's not the surrounding area, unless the township and surrounding townships are willing to commit a sizable amount.
Mm-hmm.
And until I hear what that sizable amount is, I'm not sure that the residents of Painesville that get to pay the bill, I'd like to know how they feel.
Sure.
And before I'm willing to say I think this is great, I'd like to see a survey mailed to every taxpayer, not the renters, not the people that aren't paying property tax, just the property owners, to see how they feel about spending this kind of money.
I think that that was a big concern of mine as well. I didn't want to make any decisions until we could discuss it, but I think one of the realities for us was that, especially given the financial donation from, time was kind of the essence, and so it was something we had to kind of make a decision on, but I definitely understand that concern, so I don't know if either of you have a better comment than that. Feel free to put it out there.
Yeah, I mean,
It's real easy for people to spend other people's money. Look at our government in general.
Sure is, yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is one of the points that we have under it being a community space. I think that it's a great opportunity for us to have those conversations with the township and get some commitment. I think that we also, this is not going to totally fall on the backs of our local taxpayers. Like when it comes to libraries and expansion of libraries and remodeling and building of libraries, there are a lot of grant options that are available.
I heard there are none right now.
The grants that we were actually pursuing as a board were specific to study grants. And those grants have been taken off the table right now because that money has been diverted to local aid. But those were specifically for studying like the costs associated and, you know, just some of the work that we were doing. We were looking at those to, you know, help with the cost of the surveys and help with the cost of the architectural ideas and things like that. But when it comes to actual grants for the library systems itself and the building of those, there's a lot of options that we could pursue.
Especially in partnership with the school, that was something that we discussed too, that will be helpful, given that their library space at the middle and high school is, has been restructured somewhat. So that was something that we had discussed too.
Well, I have a hunch we'll be coming back to this subject in a different manner here shortly. I think the committee did a fine job. I know that they were looking for guidance, but I think, you know, the guidance that I tried to give them was that I'm not here to guide you. You're here to look at our library and what could be done. It did kind of branch out into other areas, and that is fine, because a library is more than a library. It is, from what it's been hammered into me, it's more of a resource center than it is just a library. So thank you to the committee. It might be coming to an end fairly soon, one way or another. Anything else on that? We will move on to the item G, the airport T-hangar project on page 48. And I see the building is in construction out there.
Yeah, just to give a quick update on the airport hangar project, as mentioned, that building is nearing completion. Over the next few weeks, or probably over the next month, you'll see the remaining site improvements completed with the paving and some concrete work. So hopefully that project's scheduled to be complete prior to July 1st. So in your pack is a copy of pay request 3 for that project in the amount of $234,927.01 for work completed during April.
I'll make the motion to approve payment estimate number 3 payable to Voss Plumbing and Heating of Painesville in the amount of $243,927.01.
Second.
Motion by LeBeau, seconded by Hersig, to approve payment estimate number 3 payable to Voss Plumbing and Heating of Painesville in the amount of $234,927.01. Discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? None? That carried. And our fly-in air show is still scheduled for August 9th. Is that right? August 9th? So we'll have a new building to show off to. We will. Okay, 2019 street improvement project. Chuck.
Yeah, the 2019 improvement project, the majority of that work was completed last year. This spring, they have completed some additional underground work, primarily over by Railroad Street in Garfield, finishing the storm sewer over there, and as well as the storm sewer down by Shopko and Teal's building. So they will finish the street extension down there, but they're waiting for the paving plans to open. And they'll do that right before they come in to do the final course of paving on the streets. So I would anticipate that work happening probably late May or the early part of June. So in your packet is a copy of pay request 8 for that project for work completed in April and amounts to $61,975.62.
I'll make the motion to approve payment estimate number 8 payable to Voss Plumbing and Heating of Painesville in the amount of $61,975.62.
Second.
Motion by Hertzberg, seconded by Ranky to approve payment estimate number 8 payable to Voss Plumbing and Heating of Painesville in the amount of $61,975.62. Discussion? All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed? None? That carried. The only informational item is the now world-famous Bill Ludwig, our liquor store manager, was published across the pond in Liberia, the newspaper over there, for the work the stores did for their shoe collection. Thank you. That is it. We will be taking a short recess here as we get ready to go into closed session to discuss an offer on real property located at 810 Deekman Drive, Block 4, Block 2, Deekman Business Park, Plat 2, parcel number 70.38748.0030. And for this, we should have, of course, the city attorney, the city engineer, our administrators. We should have our liquor store manager stick around, Babel. I don't think the police chief needs to.
I didn't see my name on the list. So
No.
You never know, it might get hot.
Yeah. So, we're spread out, so we're good. So we're recessed.
Saying you need for trouble.
That we get set up?
I might need to be restrained.